Hello, it's me, Flocka. In today's video, I'll be teaching you how to make a Ferris wheel. I'll also be going over the mechanics that hold the car in place and why it works so well. If you're not a beginner, honestly, I think you'll be able to get a hold of this. And if you are a beginner, I encourage you to have some patience, give it multiple tries. As you'll see, I'm gonna fail multiple times as well. Let's get right into the video. A 3x3 is plenty big for referencing where you want to build your pillars, because if you have these wildly spread out, you're going to be building this thing a gajillion blocks high, and there is no way you're going to get that thing to operate, okay? So what I'm going to suggest is that 3x3 of those big base foundations, and to even go in 6 studs on each side. So I'll go till it's 4 usually, because I can identify that pretty easily. And then I'll go 2 on each side and go like that. To go up, we're actually gonna do a varying pattern of 3 studs and 2 studs. So the first one we'll do 2, and the second one we'll do 3. And we're gonna take this up 5 pillars high, and if you're using the 4x4x2 foundations, that's gonna be 30 foundations on each pillar. So that's 120 granite to finish the entirety of the foundation. Now, if you just want the mechanic for the wheel or for the cars, you don't have to go far. This doesn't take long. This is just how to hold in the wheel itself. I'm just using a foundation type of box to hold in the wheel. It really is this simple. You guys can go ahead and do whatever you want to hold it in, but you just want some sort of platform to hold the wheel that it can roll on without causing any sort of friction. From here, you're gonna wanna build something that pushes out into the middle. You're gonna throw your post down. This is going to hold just the rod, and you're gonna want to make sure that there's enough room for the wheels to slide down in. Now, this is 8 studs wide. This is the exact width you're gonna need of an opening for your rod to slide down. So make sure that when you're building your pillars up, you don't go in any further than this. Otherwise, you're gonna have to make your own makeshift sort of holder and then have to adjust like your rod. But if you're building this exactly the way that I'm building it, this is the way that's going to come out. Make sure you adjust your wheel once you have your rod and your wheels down. Oh, and by the way, you can use whichever wheels you want. I personally prefer the powered ones because when I use the thruster power, it has a nice rotation speed, but feel free to throw those large simple tires on as well. Now, you'll see how nicely that drops down. You can go ahead and throw some pieces on to lock it in if you're worried, but it really only just shifts side to side a little bit. So you don't have to worry too much about this falling out of place. As well as putting pieces above, you can put floor pieces above that tire. You'll see me do that later on, or they'll just appear on. I'll probably won't even edit that in. But yeah, you can do whatever you need to make yourself feel comfortable, as long as you don't get in front of the rotation of the rod itself. To make the arms of the Ferris wheel, you're going to use umber walls or any type of wooden post. Make sure you leave a decent amount of room for some cart space, because that is going to determine how you build your cart. And then for the other side of this, you're going to have to use the supports. Now, those walls are 12 high. You're going to want the 2x16 palatial supports in order to get the same length on the other sides. You're just going to slap those on like that, and then go to your desired length. I believe I went like 2.5. So I'm going to end up adding a half wall onto one end and a 8x2 palatial support on the other end. Now, for the area where the hitch is going to be for the carts, you're going to take rustic interior 2x4x8 walls, and you're going to stack just like you see here on the support ends. And then on the wall ends, you're going to have to try to notch it up halfway on each side like this, so that it is technically the same. And then take a 2x2x8 and put that on the end, and that will basically get you the same result. Do that on the other side and repeat that on the opposite end of the wheel like you should have done for the last pattern as well. This is what took me a long time to figure out as the best possible system, but it's going to look really simple to you guys. Use small, simple wheels and you're gonna place them exactly where I'm placing them, going side by side here, right down the middle. Now you can go to any height you want, but make sure that you repeat it on the other side at the exact same height. You can be a stud off, it's totally fine. It's gonna look a little wonky. If that's a problem for you, then make sure that you're lining those wheels up straight, even if your arms aren't the same. Now here is where you're gonna use almost the same method that we used to drop the wheel in the first place. We're gonna take a rustic beam of any size that we can fit in here without touching the blades of the wheel. And then we're going to slap those large tires on the side and drop it in. Now, things can happen, and this is where you need that patience. You can add some thrusters, but then this might happen. And this, you might need to try a couple times, maybe use one thruster. You have to time it right, maybe push the tires in a stud. Try whatever you have to do to get this to work. But for me, I just tried over and over again, putting a thruster on the side and then activating it with a switch and then deactivating it as soon as I activate it, so that the wheel falls down gently onto the wheels without tipping too much. And this run, I happened to get it to work, and I'm telling you, you have to be patient, you have to be persistent, and the second you get it to look anything like this, go ahead and lock in those wheels. Put the tires on the top, the same spots that you put it on the bottom. It should look like a 6-wheel type of flower. Pin in the side that is tilted if it is, and this is where you're gonna add your balloons. Now I had to add some supports onto the end to get my balloons on, but make sure that you alternate or you do whatever you have to do. Once you get the balloons on, it's gonna flip up into place like this. You can go ahead and throw any necessary tires that you need to throw on to lock it in place, and it should be good. You can go ahead and add more balloons to accommodate whatever weight you're gonna add. Throw on your flooring for your cart. And this is the part where you're gonna wanna add your thrusters. Now you can do multi-directional, but that means you're gonna have to add a lot of switches and guess which one is which when it comes around. And when you're doing this, you might find that out in case you decide to skip. I recommend just having a channel thruster going one way. Now, this is where you find out whether or not your cart is made right when you get to the top, is if it can slide through the posts that you've placed. Now, go ahead and try to make one initially that is going to accommodate for the posts. I kind of wasn't paying attention and I was really trying to get this tutorial out. Please let it slide. But I went ahead and recreated one that would fit through, and this is the final result. It is a little bit loud. Look, what are you gonna do? You can add some pieces. Maybe it gets a little bit quieter. You add more balloons. Do what you have to do. I found that adding maybe some more balloons to lift it up even more as it's coming around to take some of that pressure off of the tires seems to help a lot. On my Ferris wheel, I've got a really smooth, quiet rotation. So go ahead and experiment with everything. I implore you to take on the challenge of pushing your own limits. If you've gotten to this point in the tutorial and you're actually building it, you've definitely persevered and overcome some challenges of your own. Take what I've taught you and make those other 3 carts. Heck, go make some other carnival rides. Guys, take it easy, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh yeah, hit the sub button.